A very good afternoon, everyone. I want to extend a warm welcome and express my gratitude to all of you for joining this session on lightning safety preparedness. This was an emergency session. We didn't have much time to plan ahead, but still, I would like to thank all of you who have joined and especially the speakers who have agreed to share their expertise with us in this time. So, in light of the recent incident in Odisha, where we tragically lost 12 lives due to overwhelming onslaught of over 22,000 lightning strikes, we find ourselves at a crucial moment. It's absolutely crucial that we take an action and be prepared. And with this goal in mind, we have organized this awareness session along with IAG Odisha and also CROPC titled Demystifying Lightning Safety Lessons Learned from Odisha and Path Ahead. So this session aims to provide knowledge and awareness in the face of this threat. And our main objective is to bring a group of experts in the field to explore the intricacies of managing disaster risk associated with lightning strikes and work towards demystifying this phenomenon. We all know that when lightning strikes, it can be a dangerous phenomenon. However, we can reduce the number of life it claims by coming to educating, like providing awareness, empowering and protecting our communities. So once again, I would like to welcome all of you to the session. Before moving into the session, I would like to briefly introduce our line of experts. So starting with, we have Ms. Abha Mishra. She is an accomplished professional currently serving as an office head of UNDP Odisha. As an office head, she continues to play a pivotal role in advancing UNDP's mission in Odisha, fostering collaboration and working towards sustainable solutions in disasters. We welcome you, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining. Moving on, we have Mr. Deba Pradapatra, Chairperson of IAG Odisha and Associate Director at ActionAid Odisha. He brings over 2 decades of humanitarian experience. He has managed extensive teams and programs in various Indian states and internationally within ActionAid. A proactive contributor to the organization's perspective, he has authored numerous articles, case studies, and blogs. His recent Outlook magazine publications cover pressing issues such as workers' crisis, migrant labor, and the impact of COVID-19 on informal women workers. Additionally, he serves as a senior manager in EFAS, deploying for assignments in Sierra Leone, the UK, Nepal, Mozambique, and others. He is a key member of Action Aid International's team that evaluated the COVID-19 response in 16 countries. We welcome you also to the session, sir. Moving on, we have Sanjay Srivastava, Chairman of Climate Resilient Observing Systems Promotion Council. He's a distinguished climate and disaster management expert with 37 years of professional experience and has revolutionized India's disaster preparedness. With expertise in remote sensing, early warning, and communication, he has transformed disaster management from reactive to proactive. Notably, he has focused on lightning safety, addressing its devastating impact on India. Sorry about that. His initiatives include lightning detection, forecasting, and safe grid management, resulting in a 50% reduction in lightning-related deaths in 2019. Recognized as the Lightning Man of India by United Nations, Colonel Sanjay is a prolific writer and speaker on climate change and disaster topics. He collaborates with institutions, contributes to a national program on lightning risk prevention and mitigation, and remains dedicated to creating a resilient society. We are very happy to have you, sir. Looking forward to hear from you. Welcome to the session. Moving on, we have Dr. Manoranjan Mishra, who is a professor in the Department of Geography at Fakir Mohan University, where he has been since 2022. From 2010 to 2020, he served in Sikkim Central University, University of Malaysia Putra, Gangzar Meher University, Calicut University, Burmapur University, and visiting professor at ICER. His research interests span both geospatial technology and natural resource management. Much of his work has been on improving the understanding of impacts, extreme events, uh, impacts on coastal environments. He has handled 5 major research projects, 6 international consultancies, and given number of invited talks abroad and in India. Also to the session, sir. Last but not the least, we have a moderator for the session, Ms. Bharati Chakra. She is an exco member of Sphere India, and she's currently working as a joint director of Helpage India and state head of Odisha for the state program of Helpage India. She holds a postgraduate degree in rural development and began her journey in the development sector with the super cyclone response program in 2000s. In in Jagatsinghpur district. In the last 2 decades, she has worked with organizations like ActionAid India, Vasundhara, and Save the Children, and is currently with Helpage India, with holding multiple positions. She's currently the vice chairperson of the interagency group on disaster response in Odisha. That is a brief bio about our experts for the session. Once again, I would like to extend a grand welcome to all the speakers, and I hope that today's session would be very informative. So without any further delay, I would like to move it over to our moderator for the session, Ms. Ma'am.
Thank you so much, Hannah. And I welcome all the panelists and the participants who have joined for this session. As you all know, recently there have been a lot of incidents of lightning in Orissa. And to give an example, there were in a single day on 2nd of September, there were about 4,852 strikes only in Khordha district. And if you count the whole of the state, there are more than 22,000. So on a single day, and it also caused some human casualties, some animal husbandry casualties, and a lot of damage actually, and there were many people injured. So in this context, it is I think it is very timely of all of us to come together, think and discuss, and look forward to how we can work towards resilience in fighting, or in how we can say in saving ourselves in the context of lightning. So I welcome all of you on behalf of Sphere India and IAG Orissa, Interagency Group Orissa, and not delaying it. Let me first request, we have with us Dr. Manoranjan Mishra. Is a distinguished professor working with Fakimon University in Orissa. Sir, over to you. We would like to listen from you that what are the first-hand ground reports on the recent lightning incidents in Orissa, and what are the key findings and impacts, and how do you look at it from a geography professor point of view? Over to you, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. So a very good afternoon to everyone. So just like I think on 2nd September, we had the incident. Just I am trying to put from SRC point of view what they have shown the data in the Twitter. If you see there, first of all, they showed that there was cloud to cloud, I think IC or intra-cloud 36,597 strikes, cloud to ground 25,753, and it was done means at 5:30, I think 5:30 p.m. after the event has finished. And I just tried to get the data from IITM. So we just found the cloud to ground was 18,217, And the IC lightning flashes was 21. Like this is the point you can see on a single day, like this much of means you can say lightning activity came from the cloud to the ground. Then moving to this, you can see these are the flash density we just mapped, and we can found like there were 12 deaths, and the high density like Khordha, you can see in the red, 4 people lost their life. Then Balangir, I think there were 2 people lost their life. You can see the density map also. It is means more or less correlated with the death data. And if you see here, this is our data, right? Ma'am was saying like there was 4,000 something, but this was the data which shows cloud to ground, that was 2580 in you can say Khordha district, which is the highest. And also the death is highest in Khordha district. This one, I think we tried to map. I think we just see the lightning forecasting is done on basis of the convective mechanism. We just try to put the diurnal stress or time stress. If you see the number of flashes, it was highest from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. And if you can see exactly the amplitude of current, which is coming negative, you can see, you must be knowing that the process of formation of lightning is a very local activity, is a local phenomena, where exactly what happens, like when there is, means in this particular month of September, there were high amount of moisture content in the lower atmosphere. For last 4 days before September 2nd, means there was a high amount of moisture. So when circulation when developed, a drop-like condition developed in the upper atmosphere, it started pulling this moisture to the upper atmosphere. While pulling this, because full of moisture in the lower atmosphere, so exactly what happened, the cloud were formed at the lower height, and then these lightning activity happened. And if you see exactly the morning part, the much of the means activity happened. So if it would have been in the second half, I think the death number of death must have increased. And if you see the this is the casualties. I think we have already discussed 14 people, 12 people lost their life, 14 people injured, and there were casualties like 8. This is cattle casualties. You can see in the southern part, means you can see. And if you overall, if you see the death pattern, like from 12, 8 people were farmers who were working in the waters, means in the agricultural field. I think in the last month, we have lot many farmers are dying, because in Odisha, if you see in 2023, 200 people lost their life. And in this monsoon period, when there is a break of monsoon, and then when the monsoon again starts active, so in that particular phase, most of the farmers are losing their life. And this is a great concern. And basically, if you see meteorologically, the clouds are formed at lower height, and the people who are working in water-like conditions, they were the most affected. So that is the reason I think this is a great concern. We have to really introspect or rethink about this thing. Then looking at, I've just put all these things. If you see, there is a correlation between the frequency of cloud to ground lightning and death also. And I'm just going ahead a little bit. If you see in case of Odisha, like in the last 20 years, not 2023, from 2000 to 2022, if you see 6075 people lost their life in case of Odisha. Most of the flashes, if you see, it happens in Mayurbhanj, Keonjhar, then Sundargarh, and death is Mayurbhanj, Ganjam, and Dhenkanal. This is a paper which we have already published. And if you see in case of India also in 1967 till this is a concern I am showing, like from 1967 till 2020, 1,13,909 people lost their life. And if you can see the graph, it is an increasing trend. And if you do the decadal analysis, the last decades, so we have the 30,000 kind of deaths we are happening. I mean, so it is what it is showing. It is an increasing trend. And if you can see here, this is an interesting thing. If you see Odisha, there is a 35% increase in death. And if you see Bihar, that is there is a 400 means like 444% increase. Means I will try to show you. This is a day in means whatever exactly happened in Odisha. It has happened in Bihar in 2020. In a single day, there was 27,000 cloud to ground, and 114 people lost their life. I think this is not an event which is not known to the meteorology or the disaster management people. These kind of conditions are means it's not new phenomena. It's happening, and it is going to happen in future also. So we have to be prepared for these kind of extreme event. I think this is the tip which I have already told, and the basic thing which I have shown from Bihar, the district which is called as Ara, like having the highest number of cloud to ground, you can say flashes, but the death was zero because the flashes happened between 3 o'clock till means like 7 o'clock. So nobody was outside. So the thing which we should take from this particular slide, that if we can bring these farmer to a safe home, I think in a safe shelter. So the means if you don't expose these people means in the time when lightning is happening, then the casualty will be zero. What I'm trying to say, like means in month of September, every day doesn't have lightning activity. Few of the days have lightning activity, and we usually do warning part. But still, what happens? These warnings, there is a lot of things which is coming up on accuracy. Then we are not going down to the scale from the district to the means blocks, or you can say smaller areas. So that is why we cannot giving information to them. Other is like last mile connection is exactly not happening. Like then I think this is one important thing which there should be a discourse of last mile connection. I think a lot of research still going on, a lot of forecasting going on, and exactly what the disaster management authority in every state in India, they usually tweet after the event happens. Normally, like if you see the tweet they have done on I think 31st August, that there will be lightning activity on 31st. Then the media people ask them, so they didn't do anything for the 2nd August or something, 2nd September. So what I'm trying to show you, a lot of means research is need of time, and the thing is not only research, but the campaign should go on the last minute. I think we are doing at Pokémon University, but still we cannot reach each and everyone in the household. So there are a lot of technologies coming up which can really help us, means will be helping us so that we can touch each and every household in the last mile. Then I think I am just trying to put a question like right here to the the particular webinar. Is this casualty happened in the last 20 years, like 6075? I am not counting 2023, which is 200 in Odisha, or 1 lakh some 1309 life which was lost. So is it avoidable? The biggest question is it avoidable? If you ask me as a researcher, I will be say yes. But when you take it to the ground, there is difficulty, but it is not impossible. Thank you everyone.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mishra, and you have very elaborately presented the ground situation that we faced recently, and giving a comparative of different years and different states, and very well said that it is not new, and we need to prepare, we need to reach the last mile, and a lot of research and public awareness need to be done. And setting the context further, I would like to request Mr. Debrata Patra, the chairperson of Interagency Group Odisha and Associate Director ActionAid India, to enlighten us on the various causes of lightning, and what are the different types of lightning, and what are the important do's and don'ts that individuals can follow. So over to you, Mr. Devabrata Patra. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, you're audible. Please continue.
Just a minute. Yeah, welcome everybody. Welcome on behalf of IAG. I had actually prepared a presentation, but since Manoranjan sir has already shared the technical details, I would avoid the presentation and go to the case studies which we have collected after the lightning strikes. Lightning strikes, as Manoranjan sir was also explaining, it's a global phenomenon now. I think globally 40% increase in the lightning strikes we have seen over the past years. And India has seen over 1 lakh death from 67 to till death, which Manoranjan sir was explaining. But the important thing is that OSDMA has taken preventive steps, and we have also incorporated the early warning system and also collaborated with technical institutions to give the early warning. But the fact of the matter is that early warning, basically the cloud to ground lightning strikes is not reaching people. And I have 3 case studies. Unfortunately, I lost the presentation. If I have the presentation, Bharti, you will allow me to show the presentation. We have 3
You
case
can share because you are co-host. You can share.
Just a minute. Okay, I don't have the PPT, but let me share this one at least. So this is a, can you see the Word file?
Yes, visible.
So this is a case study from both. Actually, 48-year-old woman was working in the paddy field along with her husband, and they were putting fertilizer in the plants, and the fertilizer bag was kept under the nearby tree. So around 1 p.m. when the lightning started, she quickly rushed to fetch the fertilizer bag, and that's when the lightning happened, and she was struck by the lightning and she was dead. And I think this could have been avoided. Even we talked to the locals there. They could have actually left the fertilizer bag alone and shifted to the nearby house, but they didn't do that. So she was killed by the lightning. And also she said that she is not aware about any compensation money, which is 4 lakh as announced by the SRC. Another case study from Angul, again Delhi-based worker. He was also working in his agricultural field, and he was suddenly struck by the lightning and died on the spot. And the local people immediately took him to the hospital for treatment, where doctors declared him dead. And another person was also there with him. He was actually saved by the hospital treatment immediately. The important point is that no one in the family knows exactly what is the government assistance for this thing, and also they're not aware about the precautions which they can take during the thunderstorms or any disasters. So again in Jagatsinghpur, again another case of a farmer who was struck by the lightning, and he was also killed by the lightning. And this thing could have been easily avoided, because um, if they can, they could have shifted to the nearby house immediately. I think they could have been saved. So these are the three case studies. All of them are farmers working in the fields. They had no prior warning. Of course, when the rains happened, they could have easily shifted to their houses or nearby shelters, whichever was available. And these people also didn't know about what to do before, during, and after the lightning happens. So before, we have also circulated in the CITRE um, what is the do's and don'ts about the lightning, basically to avoid the ill effects of the cloud to ground lightning, how we can trim the plants, trees before the cyclone, how we can unplug the electronic equipments before the cyclone. During the cyclone, how we can take shelter in a house, car, actually not exposing oneself in the open, and not taking a shelter under the tree. And this also one case study I found in Western Odisha. One person who was taking shelter under the tree, he was killed. So these are minimum caution which we should exercise during the lightning strikes. Of course, there are many things which we have circulated after the in the SITREP, and after the lightning, of course, people are immediately seeking the treatment in the hospital. And of course, another important thing is to avoid going into the area where power lines or telephone lines have fallen down. So these are many do's and don'ts which we can exercise. And also the important thing is that if we can pass on the messages, early warning messages to the communities, to the grassroots workers, to the volunteers, through the IAG also, we have number of volunteers and partners working with us. So we can disseminate the messages very quickly. And of course, there are many cyclone shelters and safe shelters like school and so on, which we can do the wall painting, and communities should be prepared beforehand. And of course, the last but not the least, how to ensure that the compensation reaches on time, and people don't run around to do the paperwork for the compensation. So that's all from my side. I'm sorry I could not share the presentation. I could not locate actually. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Devabrata Patra, for bringing in live case stories from the field, that ground that happened recently, and this sets the context of today's discussion, because our objective today was to focus on how crucial information can pass, as he said, that people don't know if they can get any compensation, and if at all they get, how much, from where to apply. Also, they don't know about the do's and don'ts. Instead of going below a tree, they should have looked for a proper shaded structure. So
someone was asking what are the do's and don'ts. So these are briefly the do's and don'ts. What can be done before lightning? Cut down, trim trees that may fall on your home. Consider buying surge protectors, lightning rods, lightning protection system to protect your home. During the lightning, get inside the house, building, stay away from structures with tin roof, metal seats. If caught under open sky, don't crouch, lie down, or don't lie down or place your hand on ground. Don't take shelters under or near the trees. Unplug the electrical equipments. Don't use corded telephone. Stay away from windows and doors. Stay away from verandas. Don't touch plumbing and metal pipes. Don't use running water. If we are outside, seek refuge in a car or grounded building. Stay away from power lines, telephone lines, etc. After the lightning, watch out for the power lines and trees. Report them immediately and seek medical attention immediately. So these are certain things, do's and don'ts. And many of the districts, Navarampur, I remember since Kamal sir was there in OSDMA and he is the district magistrate there. He himself led the district level sessions on lightning strikes, how to avoid the deaths and so on. But it has to reach the local people, the communities, and the blocks and the villages. And the grassroots workers also need to be trained properly. Grassroots workers and the communities need to be trained properly. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is so nicely elaborated, and I'm sure that the participant got a proper information about the do's and don'ts. And as also Professor Misra mentioned about the early warning system, the early, how people should know before it strikes. The meteorological department has the data.
I just add a few things to him, if you allow me.
Yes, please.
Like what I'm trying to say, you should understand what is the lightning. It's a charged particle. Basically, when this moisture content is moving up, so there is a decrease of temperature. So freezing starts. So at some height, so what will happen? Ice particle forms, they collide. So charged particles are formed. So it is positive and negative charge. The weighted one, positive charge move up, negative charge move down. So anything on the surface of the earth is negative charge. So when these two join, so there is a flow of current. And you should understand it typically lightning phenomena, it is like 30,000 ampere current. Or you can say 3 lakh, you can say voltage current. And it is 30,000 degrees centigrade temperature. So what exactly happens? So if you are a carrier, so there are different kind of strikes. One is direct strike. So only 5% are being directly struck because human beings have a very small height. So usually in the pre-monsoon period, so tree used to carry all these two down. So anybody standing below the tree, so they get a lateral current. Basically, when they are pulling the current, making earthening, so what will happen? A lateral current will start, a lateral flash will move. So if you are studying, you will get a flash from that. And 90% of the death in pre-monsoon in Odisha is you are standing below tree. And if you come to monsoon, it is a streamer current. Streamer means water used to pull current. And if you see in this monsoon period, most of the deaths are farmers who are working inside the water. And these are agricultural field because this time period, cloud are formed at the lower height. So that is the reason there is a very much chances that it will come to the water. So for the awareness part of, I think what is do's and don'ts, I think at 8 o'clock, so if we use any of the softwares like Weatherbox, there are a lot of rain alarm. So next 10 hours, you have the idea that what will happen in your area. Next 10 hours, rain and lightning. Once you get the data, just check which is the window of lightning activity. Once you know that, so what will happen then check Damini, Satark, or Sachet. These are the apps which you can use at area which you are working. So what will happen when you see that your area, it will be showing plus. You should understand the convective mechanism is just from half an hour to 3 hours. And most of them means it is a process. And if you see the part which is missing in our research, most of the model which we are working is on the convective model, not on the current surge. If you see in my slide, I have shown there was a surge at 2 o'clock night on September 2 o'clock. There was an electric surge, means electric amplitude was flowing towards the ground. If it could have been monitored, I think at 5 o'clock, we must have known that this is the activity which is going up in next 5 hours. That could have been informed to the people in the morning. So then that is the reason why, means even if we have a forecasting which is very generalized in nature, So that is the reason why we are not able to save these lives. I think these are things, and inside means if you are outside, so the possibility of getting out of activity, yeah, I think I'm done.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, and that gives a very precise note on what is lightning and how we should be taking care of as a part of early warning systems. Are also mentioned about the Damini and Satark and Sachetap. So thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Devabrata Patra, for your elaborate discussion and ground level case stories setting the context. And now we have with us the lightning man of India, Colonel Sanjay Srivastav, sir. So, sir, I welcome you again on behalf of IAG Odisha and Sphere India, and thank you for joining us. And we definitely look forward to listen to you. What are the key policy initiatives you have been working since long on the issue of lightning related activities, and how can we enhance the existing early warning system, and what are the latest advancements in the lightning detection and early warning system? So we really look forward to you, sir. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you very much for giving this opportunity, and it is very, very pertinent to discuss the lightning deaths which has happened in Odisha, and we all are dwelling upon it, the reasons why it happened. Firstly, I'll be slightly critical. So aim is not to criticize it. Every disaster is a learning. So let's learn out of this disaster what happened. This 2nd September incident which happened, Odisha firstly Odisha as a state, per se disaster management, it's one of the most exemplary state in India. So this discussion should not be compared with any other state. The expectation from Odisha State Disaster Management Authority, the IAG, the community, the academia is very high. So I will get slightly more into technical aspects where we can improve upon. We all know that era of global warming is over. Now the era is of global boiling. Leaders must lead. No more hesitancy, no more excuses, no more waiting for others to move first. There is simply no more time for that. It is still possible to limit global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius and avoid the very worst of climate change, but only with dramatic, immediate climate action. If you see what happened, the basic ingredient for lightning is heat and moisture. On 2nd September, if you see the temperature which was there, that was around 32, 33 degrees centigrade in these areas. But the humidity was more than 85 to 90%. And if you go on the heat index, it was beyond the human capability. We are lucky, especially rural people have high immunity and they could survive it. But the heat index was crossing almost 47, 48. So in this unbearable condition, and when we started off from a break monsoon to active monsoon, there is instability in the weather. So due to the high humidity, instability, the circulation of air started and there was intense lightning. And all these were captured. Today in India, every third death of natural disaster is due to lightning. If you see the last NCRB report, we have 42% deaths due to lightning. Though Odisha has come down in its death, we had the tweets. One was about the number of lightning strikes, which was later on corrected, and Professor Mishra has dwelt upon that. See, for a common man, what matters is the cloud to ground lightning, which is going to strike him. And he's interested when it is going to strike him. Shall I speak in Hindi or English? हिंदी में बोलूं या इंग्लिश में बोलूं?
Sir, as you please. It's
For me,
okay.
water language is fine. But you
Yeah.
see, what matters is for a common man, for a farmer, when the lightning is going to strike. So if you see these social media tweets, this is all after the incident once it is over. If you see the profile, 8 farmers, 3 cattle graziers, 1 inside the house. So 3 were in the open field condition, unsafe working condition, unsafe livelihood. This is for IAG. Mr. Devrata is here. Whenever you do your field campaign, this is for Fakir Mohad University. The livelihood conditions have to be safe conditions. And if in case you are working in open, there should be a safer house nearby. And if nobody is around, there should be a community watchman. What we follow in Jharkhand, what is followed in Nagaland, what is followed in Australia, US, the fire command system, there is always a community watchman. So try and make one person as a watchman who should be watching on the lightning. If you see the complete lightning which happened, there was always a black cloud which comes, and people should be made aware of this. As far as the number of strike is concerned, this is a clear cut, which I have shared with Dr. Manoranjan Mishra. 100% correct information is here. But for a common man, what matters? We had just had the annual lightning report out. And if you see Odisha, it is continuously right from 2019 to 22-23, the lightning strikes are rising. Again, it is a point for early warning for IMD, point for early warning for OSDMA. There are 3 sensors from IITM, Earth Networks, and 1 from NRSC. If you see this chart, NRSC detection is more. So OSDMA should consider using the NRSC early warning also. They should have the IMD early warning, IITM early warning, but NRSC, this blue one, is detecting much more. You can see every month the number of detection. So it is much higher, and OSDMA, it is my earnest recommendation, should consider using this, because what it is important is more number of lightning detection, and if you detect, you get advanced lead time. So lead time is more. This is last 4 years complete analysis of lightning strikes. Overall, if you see, Odisha had more than 40% increase in lightning strike in last 4 years. This is direct indicator of climate change. I would like to tell you, with 1 degree rise in temperature, there is 12% rise in lightning. This 45%, 46% rise in lightning in the state is an example. It's a proof that the rise in temperature in Odisha in last 4 years is more than 4 degrees centigrade. So this is IPCC claim that 1.5 degree rise is going to be catastrophic. With 4 degree rise, definitely there is going to be more casualties, more extreme events, more lightning. I would not like to hesitate to say that day is not far. In next 1-2 years or within 5 years, you will see hurricanes in Odisha. After 5 to 10 years, you will see tornadoes in Odisha. And to everything, what is damaging is the loss of life, which you can see this chart. This year again, Odisha has crossed 200. It pains me very much when it crosses 200 plus in a state like Odisha, which is supposed to be the leader in the disaster management. It is our collective responsibility. This is all crowd to ground lightning, all these things. I would like to come and ask, what is happening? What, affects us? Yeah. This is the lightning strike which happened. These are the current activities which started off in the midnight only, 12 o'clock in the midnight. And if you see, this is the current versus time analysis. This is how current occurred. So this is all the current. But if you go further, granular, all currents don't kill. We have graded currents in C1, C2, and C3. It is the C3 current which is dangerous. These bigger spikes which you see are the C3 currents. And these C3 currents are the one which has caused the death. It is my earnest request to the scientific agencies, that is the India Meteorological Department, IITM, and OSDMA, to concentrate on the electrical energy. When lightning forms, the first thing which happens, it develops electrical charge, and people die of the electrical charge. Please, I request again, please concentrate on detection of electric current, not RF energy, radio energy, electromagnetic pulses. Those are secondary detection. We need to have advancement in the detection so that we get a proper early warning system. When I developed early warning in India, it was both electric charge as well as electric pulses. Electromagnetic pulses give you long range early warning, but short range, 100% reliable, you need detection of electric current. So OSDMA should consider installing electric field meter or Maxwell current detector for their early warning. Now coming on to the further, what are the takeaways? I heard Devrata ji, lack of awareness and knowledge about do's and don'ts. This is the most common thing among villagers. Dissemination of early warning. After the IMD generates and OSDMA tweets and social media messages, there is no accountability whether it is reaching farmer or not. So there has to be an accountable dissemination of early warning. If Khurda it is going, or if Bolangir, the district emergency officer should have an accountable system that Tehsildar of so-and-so area has disseminated to the farmer in the field. Now people are dying and we are paying compensation. Painful. There has to be, when you have the solution, we all say it is 100% avoidable. But do we ensure that it is accountable dissemination of early warning? No. Somebody tweeted, somebody messaged, somebody WhatsApp group, but no one reached the farmer. So it is ridiculous. It's an exercise in futility. Natural early warning. There is natural early warning available. Let's train the villagers. You see, Fakir Mohan University is doing. And in Balasore this year, 1 death was before the campaign and 2 deaths on 27 July. So total 3 deaths due to the, you can see the impact of, last mile door-to-door campaign. Action on receipt of early warning. It is by both. For the district emergency officer, for Tehsildar, for, IAG, for community. What to do? We do not know. We need to write an SOP on this and follow this. We talked all big apps, Satark, Damini, Sachet. All these people died. It means simply the app was not available to them. In fact, I have done an analysis. All the apps, Sachet, Damini, Satark, Indravajra, Sidlu, total download in India is 13 lakh. In a country of 1.4 billion, जहां 140 करोड़ लोग रहते हैं, 13 लाख ऐप डाउनलोड करा के हम कहते हैं कि जान बचा लेंगे. It's painful. It's shameful, Please go on the web of each app. You can see it, how many people have downloaded. So let's accept these apps are a failure. They are not effective. Lightning safe shelter. Nobody knows. Nobody does the physical, community-based hazard, risk, vulnerability, and capacity analysis. In a village, please stand in the open area. You will see there is a hill, there is a river, there is an open field. Identify them. They are dangerous. Install some lightning protection devices, make them safe. See where is the school, see where is the foothill, where you can save yourself. There is no such exercise carried out, no community-based hazard, risk, vulnerability analysis. So there is no lightning safe shelter. Medical response. Devrata ji says, one dead person revived in hospital. We in Odisha have been harping that there is something known as the defibrillator. From AIMS Bhubaneswar, Dr. Sahu has come and demonstrated at Balasore, Bhubaneswar, Cuttack, Kalahandi, Kendrapada, Ganjam University. No one is taking it out. The survival rate is 65% with defibrillator. You know the famous case of Nagpur airport, when 2 people had died, they were revived in ambulance because of the defibrillator. 112 single emergency number. I was the project director in India for this single emergency number. It is functional in all the states. Whenever there is an emergency, please ring up 112. They will, in urban area, they will reach within 5 minutes, rural area within 20 minutes. Was this number used? Nobody knows. Where are the field level responders? So there is mechanism. There are solutions. But are we using that? We have 108 advanced life support ambulance. Odisha has very effective ambulance service. Did somebody rang up 108 ambulance? Use the defibrillator which is there. So it is very important that we should draw a lesson out of it. This is the first aid protocol which should be there. First should be call the emergency and then you give the aid. This is the defibrillator, the electric shock which you give and revive a person. These are the clouds which we need to tell people that this is the dangerous cloud. Whenever it is there, be watchful. This is a natural sign of early warning which you get. Your hairs rise, you get goosebumps. And this is the solution. पेड़ के नीचे कभी नहीं रहना, पक्का मकान सबसे सुरक्षित स्थान. You must install lightning protection devices. An individual action plan. Lightning early warning, should know what to do, what not to do, and should have a lightning safe shelter. This is only in Odia, which is available. This is in case you get nothing, you should lie down on ground, touch both your ankles and sit. This is the livelihood condition which we need to improve. This is the shelter which we need to make near the farmers. This is a cluster-based program by the Disaster Management Authority, Balasore. I'm really thankful to these people sitting on the chair and these in front. And this is our Barhampur chapter, Balasore chapter. You can see from classroom to the field. This is the president's village, which was made lightning safe. When we have a chief minister with zero casualty, vision and action, he's so proactive. When we have a minister who is so sensitive, and when we have a secretary whose laurel is, I teach in Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy. Whenever I go, I mention his name. Dr. Pankaj Singh is here from Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy. We have such legendary figures like P.K. Jena sir. We have Dr. Gyana Das, Satyavrata Sahu. We have a IAG as strong as no other state has. Then we need a collective effort and we need to reach these people, not sitting in the offices and halls and seminars. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Colonel Sanjay. And yes, it was a very elaborate discussion on the early warning systems, the natural systems, and also the systems that we need to set up and reach out to people. Sir very elaborately discussed all of it, and also something that struck me is the livelihood conditions and safer houses and community watchmen. I think as Odisha is, as sir said, leading state in disaster management, we also need to focus a lot more into the lightning related disasters that's happening. Thank you so much, sir. Now I move ahead to Ms. Abha Mishra, who is the office head of UNDP Odisha chapter. And Abha ma'am, we would like to listen to you on the different stakeholder engagements that we can collaborate in the lightning related risk management, and also what role the academics, the educational institutions, media, NGOs, and community leaders can play, so that we can help people and reduce the risk of lightning disasters. Over to you, Ava Mishra.
Thank you, Bharti, and thank you to the Sphere for calling me. Just to take off from where Colonel Sanjay Srivastav and Professor mentioned, we already have a lot of programs going through by the government. We already have an early warning communication systems, and we have the lightning sensors. We have even an application Satar. And the information is provided by the OSDMA. Usually it comes about 30 minutes ago, and then it is also shared through WhatsApp, through messaging. When these are being sent to the people, and it just takes about 3 to 4 minutes as per the government records. And there have been special campaigns also all across the state, which is organized at school and community levels. A lot of IC materials are also there, which is being said. And some of the other departments, like not forget about OSDMA, even I remember in one of the meetings in the forest department, they also were concerned about it and what to do. And somebody suggested that, the palm trees could be planted. So when you look at the efforts of the government, we know something is happening. And as Colonel Srivastav mentioned, that maybe they are not enough. There are a lot of things. But what we have done as civil society, are we disseminating them in our own areas? Do we even know how much and where we are working? What type of efforts are they? Colonel Srivastav has really mentioned that, with the Balashore Fakir Mohan University, they have been working. And so there has been a difference made in those areas. So somewhere I feel, what is required is to first and foremost, the IIT could take up, and which they have already done mapping of the NGOs which are there across the state working on DRR. Once you have mapped them, can you do a training and a capacity building of their functionaries, so that they are able to translate that information back to the communities where they're working first. The second thing is about the social protection schemes and the ex gracias which are being given. It is a big issue, not only for the disaster risk. It is also for every other aspect of social protection. So somewhere we as community of development workers need to come forward and take up those efforts, create mechanism where we are able to support the communities to access them. It's very easy to, say this is not done, should have been done after an event, as Colonel Satpathy and Professor mentioned, and even Devavata mentioned. The tweets is coming after the event and other things. But if we have we have got the information, are we also tweeting about it, the possibility of them? Because most of us are also using social media. So while making the government accountable for a lot of things, we have to advocate that within the disaster management training programs for different office bearers, which they are doing since last 1 year as a part of their 10-point agenda. We need to ensure that the climate lightning is a part and parcel of their trainings, and the do's and don'ts, which was so eloquently shared by Devavata, should become a part and parcel of their, you know, uh, mm, you know, take home uh, reading materials. Uh, Beyond this, I also think it is very important to mention that a lot of lightning arresters are being installed in the institutions, also the government institutions. But I don't think so. We are talking too much with the communities to educate them about these lightning arresters. So can that could be a part of our IC campaigns, where we need to, and maybe we also need to, as a part of the government NGO coordination or IAG, or even on an individual basis of the organizations, come out with campaigning where we say that the earthing and the lightning arresters need to be there for each of the buildings which are being constructed or which have been constructed. Uh, while I can understand, as Colonel and the professor mentioned, that Mishra sir mentioned that with the climate change there are going to be more and more such incidences. But and there are, they have also, he's professors also very very well depicted the areas where it is happening. But I would also like to understand why. Is there something else also which this lightning is being attracted to? I don't know. I'm a novice in that. I have a very less idea about the lightning phenomenon. So if it is there, then the IEC and the BCC campaigns in those areas may have to be done differently. Because I still remember, when I was working in Calcutta, Bardhaman district used to get the maximum lightning strikes from all across uh, the districts of West Bengal. And one of the professors were mentioning that they were doing a study to see what is attracting it in that particular area. Is it the minerals which are there or something else? So maybe the professor could also guide us on that. And keeping that in mind, then the strategy will have to be differently made for different places. So that's where the academic institutions' role come into being, to guide us, to tell us, uh, research the problem and tell us why it is happening. The solutions can be then found out how to combat it. uh, the NGOs need to be more proactive. When we even with everything, we may have to talk about it also specifically in these 2-3 months. We don't need to do it because the time span, attention of the community members, including ourselves, have reduced because we are so overburdened with so many things that it is really taking a toll on what we can talk about and what we can read and what we can digest. The fourth point, which I feel is very important, is that can the IAG, along with academic institutions, take the help of the youth of this state, the NYKS, NSS, NCC, and also the college clubs and other things, to spread this knowledge. And again, I am re-emphasizing, we may have to do it only for a couple of months, which Colonel Srivastav can very well tell us which are the key months. Um, uh, and we can look at it and see how we can then, because youth have to be involved. We cannot expect youth. But again, there is a little bit more twist to it, because many of the youth are moving out of the villages and coming into the cities. So Bharti, with her network of elderly centers and other things, could help us in spreading this knowledge back to the community. Uh, and the final point which I would like to make is maybe we also need to do a little bit of retrospective analysis and discussion with the elderlies to find out during these events what was their way of dealing with it. Did they have something very, very unique, very local specific? Uh, so, in my opinion, OSDMA, while they have been taking a lot of initiatives, they have been sending this through the Satark app, the information about lightning, half an hour to 45 minutes. I have been receiving on my mobiles, so I will not be able to. And of course, the literacy rate at the grassroots level may not be there for them, or they may not be receiving it on the WhatsApp, but could be receiving it through the SMSs. We may have to do a little bit of probing to find out how that can be improved. But that's again, the evidence has to be given to the OSDMA to improve their systems. So one is this. The second thing is we will have to talk to OSDMA and see how during these time periods, what BCC methods, the IEC campaigns can be done, how they can be involved. And the third thing is maybe the Colonel Srivastav's idea of putting up the ex gratia amount at specific places in the panchayat could be one of the good points. But again, I may beg to differ here because many of the governments after an event sometimes ups the ex gratia amount also. So they may not like to put it, but actually the minimum amount, whatever it is, that could be put in so that they are aware that they can ask for the compensation. With the academic institution, I think it may be very useful if we can pan-India, pan-Odisha, come up with a small forum of the academic lecturers who are interested in this subject, and they do a pan-Odisha research and keep on feeding that information not only to the NGOs but also to OSDMA for improving their systems. And so these are a couple.
Abha, you're mute.
Oh, no, I just muted because it just went off. I thought the time period must have got delayed or something. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Over to you, Bharti.
Okay, Abha, thank you so much. It was very enlightening, actually. You spoke about creating mechanisms to reach out to community, and community has access, having access to information about the lightning incidents and such information on time. And you also discussed about creating a cadre of volunteers on a particular time-bound period where, volunteers from NSS, NCC, and other youth campaigns should reach out to people with do's and don'ts, and also the different mechanisms to know and spread information. And also you spoke about retrospecting analysis with elderly. As far as I remember, I once asked one elderly, and he said that whenever you get to know that it's lightning, just get inside the house, don't venture out. So thank you, Ava. I think Colonel Sanjay wants to say something. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Abha, for a wonderful speech. And it's always, she has been always preaching me. So as a colleague, I always take it good. Firstly, regarding the partnership, I would like to inform that in Odisha, under the
internship, sorry sir for disturbance. Karnal Sahab, namaskar.
Namaskar, namaskar.
Already I have discussed with you on this program. Is very good on this training program, a workshop in conference for 24 20. Yes, is very feedback is very maybe good.
Dr. Pankaj Bharti is a faculty at Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration, Missouri, and they have taken up lightning program for all the IAS officers undergoing various courses very seriously. And I am fortunate that Labasna has empaneled me as a faculty to impart this training. Thank
He is
you.
always invited to him, but that okay, sir.
Thank
Sorry
you.
for that.
So we have made a coalition of, under the leadership of Fakir Mohan University, there is a coalition of university which is made. So all the 17 state universities, IIT Bhubaneswar, NIT Rourkela, AIMS Bhubaneswar, we had a meeting in Fakir Mohan and they have started off a field level campaign. And you will be happy to note that current Balasore public awareness campaign has been supported by Tata Steel Foundation in 145 villages. So Dr. Ambika, is a part of your IAG. So we need more collaboration between IAG and academia, which can make more, impact. So that is very, very good. If a IAG, academia and DDMA combination works. At present, few places they are working together, few places they are working in silo. So it is important that there is a collective effort by all of them. Very good thing which has been done by Balasore. They have come up with a Balasore, atlas. And the complete micronization, seasonality and frequency, even in a district, the lightning occurrence, timing, frequencies, areas where lightning are striking, there is a pattern. If you analyze, take the academic help and focus on those areas, then you are, doing a surgical strike, pinpoint, attending to these calls. Very important point which Abha and both of you brought is the mitigation part, and the traditional knowledge. Odisha, you will be happy to note that all the cyclone shelters, in fact, I was a technical expert in that, they are lightning proof because they are installed with a lightning arrestor. Now, grassroots level, it is very important that those people should be taught about the simple, affordable device of lightning protection, lightning arresters, how they can have it. So that is going to make big effort. What is being done? We are doing this in Mayurbhanj and Balasore. Now, for OSDM, a mitigation fund is there which has come. This is the third year going on, and the fund is yet to be utilized. So the fund is available. It should be also committed to the creating the lightning safe shelter from the OSDMA side. As far as the traditional knowledge is concerned, I remember in 2019, when Mr. Vishnupada Sethi was the secretary, they started off a program with the forest department where palm trees were being, to be against sown. Earlier times when there were a large number of trees, these trees used to absorb the lightning strikes. Now the division has taken place, land holdings have become small, so those trees have been cut. So more number of trees created, so those are very important. We have Lord Jagannath Temple, which is an example of traditional architecture. We didn't need Franklin Rod, an outsider, to tell us. So we have a traditional knowledge. We have a tradition of making poles in front of the house with a iron. Inside all our houses earlier used to be with structure bonding. When we do foundation, there is dhatu which is put and the pillars which are there in the center, you have the iron rods and a mesh is made. So our traditional architecture existed where we made a house where we did not need, there was no need of having a lightning arrestor or conductor. The house itself was a Faraday's cage. But over a period of time with the, Western education, we got colonized and we lost out on on our traditional knowledge. So it is very important. People used to make house at the foothills, not on top hills. If you see the Odisha houses, they are on the foothills. Those foothills are the safer areas. That is good grazing ground, cattle grazing ground. So it is important to have that. We have also one question is why. If you go on one of my research paper, where this Chota Nagpur belt, northern Odisha, South Bengal, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh. This Chota Nagpur area is a huge mining area. And the moment the moisture comes from the Bay of Bengal, due to the moisture, due to the mining, there is a very high aerosol level pollution. And so temperature is very high. And so the lightning is formed and the cloud level is very low because of the hilly area. And since there is metal, so the transfer of charge from atmosphere to ground is very fast. So of course, the local geomorphology, that metal presence, mineral presence in the soil, that plays a big role. So, but the river basin, what is happening in the river area, coastal area, they are different. Lightning has a different seasonality. So we must know what is the seasonality. Balasore Atlas is available in the public domain, can be taken from Professor Mishra, which is there. Now, one very important thing what has happened during this time is the low-level clouds were there on 2nd September. So when the cloud level is low and circulation is there, you have positive charge and negative charge, both the charges striking you. So that is the time you get very less early warning. So less early warning means more preparedness. So that has to be there. So there is a need to enhance the technical capability of the disaster management authority at the state and the district level. Atmospheric electricity. You know, in Odisha, we got a lightning strike of 314 kiloampere this year. 3.14 lakh ampere current is phenomenal. We will get, we will turn into ashes once it hits us. So it is important that there is a study by this local academic institution, academia, to be carried out on changing pattern of atmospheric electricity. There is also a need. We have come up with a low-cost two-way pole. You can put the pole in the Gram Panchayat or in agriculture field. So the lightning alert can automatically, or any alert for that matter, can go directly to the village. You can broadcast in the local language. You can hear from them. You can have observation on them. So this device we have devised, and it just costs less than 3 lakh rupees, which is very useful. There is also a need of technical dialogue. Lightning is a technical subject. It is a citizen science. There is a need of a technical, or I will say citizen science dialogue between technical scientific ministries, academia, OSDMA, and IAG, and community, so that it is simplified and we take it to the community in the manner which they understand it in best possible manner. They don't understand CG lighting, IC lightning. We have to go in a simpler manner that how it affects them. So this is what is my response to what Abha said. Thank you.
Can I respond?
Thank you, sir. Yeah, please, Professor Mishra.
Yeah. I am just adding few points to Colonel Sanjay Srivastav said. What exactly Fakinman University is doing right now. So at 8 o'clock, we are collecting means you can say forecasting, weather forecasting advisories. Then we are translating it into some voice message. Then we are sharing in means each and every block in the WhatsApp group. And then there are some of the adopted villages by the college. We are sharing in that group. And Tata Foundation, what they have done at least, they have adopted 135 villages in some blocks. And for information, I can say after their campaign, not our campaign. So what they did, it is not only getting this information, but they trained all the farmers what exactly you have to do. So which is the window you have to work, which is the window you don't have to work. So why means there were zero casualty in that particular 150 villages in this particular season. And this is possible because I can say we do a lot of scientific research, we discuss a lot of things. Very simple thing, there were a death before our campaign. So what they did, they showed that particular death story as an example to everyone that this is the condition, this guy has died. So you have to do all these things. And all this information we are passing on, they are taking it in their decision-making processes. What I am trying to say, like if you go to the ground, there are majority of the people who are out of these, what you can say, digital kind of things. They don't have a mobile. So you have to also train them exactly because there are certain parameters which we can look physically and you can know there is an activity which is going to happen or not. Second thing, if there is a single activity is happening, then you have to go to the shelter house. And that is a window of half an hour to 1 hour. So if you are not exposing yourself, then your death reduces. But these particular messages as someone has to send it. We are telling that we are sending. We have a lot of IEC material, we have a lot of volunteers still, but the data which is showing in case of Odisha, every year 287 average death is up. That means whatever efforts we are putting, it's not working. Whatever we are saying, like I am from the scientific world, we do a lot of research. I am publishing a lot of papers, but thing is, when it comes to reducing the casualty, it is not for publishing or it is not for disaster management. You know, the response time is very few seconds. Like the kind of forecasting we used to do in a very comfortable zone. Like we always work with the error. We don't work to save people. We work with errors, like 80% chances, 40% chances. Then that particular information, how the people are taking at the local level, we don't. Because there are very few people who are using mobile or listening to these things. So what I think that the campaign which we were doing, we are not successful. I can say we are not successful because we cannot make zero casualty in Balesh. What is our objective? Still, we are not successful, but we are trying. So that I am trying to say in case of Odisha. So what I am trying to say, like a lot of efforts has to be done in the forecasting part, because it has to be at 8 o'clock. It is not at 5 o'clock or 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, because already the farmer is in the field. So if you give information at 2 o'clock, so how he or she will make a decision? Because 50% there is no likely. 50% there is likely. So what I'm trying to say, like the forecasting has to be done at certain time at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock. Then you can update your forecasting at 1 or 2 o'clock. Then you train them how to use this forecasting material or not. What I am trying to say, like if you see in a year, there are windows where majority of death happen, like some days 10, 11, 12. And these windows are extreme event, which is being monitored by IMD. What I'm saying, but that is not being translated into some information which local people can use. So that is the reason why I am saying that means like this, there should be a coordination between all these things. Then only we can make it zero. So whatever we speak, whatever discussion we do, really, if we don't do anything in the ground, nothing, this death will not reduce. Whatever we do in our laboratory or inside university or maybe in Bhubaneswar or Delhi, I think it will not work if we don't translate this information to the people, make them understand how to use this information. That is last mile connection. Last mile connection is not pushing information through caps. Okay, sometimes I got that the event happened at 5 o'clock, the message reached at 10 o'clock. The event has already finished. So that means how casually we are taking these events. That is the reason what I am trying to say, like there are a lot of coordinated efforts as required, but at the ground level. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mishra. And I would like to go through a few messages in the chat box where there are some questions, some suggestions. Mr. Basav Sarkar mentioned about, keep in mind the most people who don't have smartphone. Yes, we did discuss about it. And that is what we are discussing when we talk about last mile connection and community watchman, or we say youth volunteers spreading messages. And then we also have some questions like Deepika Panwar. She asks, can umbrellas also attract lightning? We have Mr. Subaya, who is asking another question that the big temple, Tanjore or Meenakshi Amma temple, Madurai, they have suffered damages after installation of EC type of lightning protection systems. So why this failure? Has there been any analysis, or could we have avoided this kind of incidents which have been standing tall since 1,000 years and now suffered some damage? Then Mr. Ashok Shamantrai also asked that should we educate people in the community not to plant trees around house, but that's a practice. So that is again replied by Manojan Mishra sir, but that's a question there. And I think any other question? Increasing palm trees plantation, can it reduce human casualties? And yes, so some of the questions have been in chat also replied by the panelists. So we have a great discussion today and good suggestions and recommendations. So anything, last words from Colonel Sanjay or Abha, Pankaj, sir, and Dr. Mishra and Mr. Devabrata Patra. Open to all of you.
You see, one point regarding the lightning protection. Being a old researcher and a professor and probably doing only research on lightning, our organization, this lightning protection in India is an anarchy. There is no proper lab. I told you, like in Berhampur, we got 314 kiloampere of current. There has to be a testing lab which should certify that the lightning protection devices which are being installed can withstand that much of current. So we have mapped the complete current amplitude, its intensity, frequency. Then there is also a time that when lightning strike happens, once there is a conductor or arrestor, there is a traveling time once it catches, then from catching, taking it down and earthing it. So that time also we have calculated. So there are parameters which are required to be set. Somehow they have made it a commercial battle. The conductor also fails, the arrestor also fails. They keep blaming. Aim is that when you do a lightning protection, there is a method of risk assessment. How much current is supposed to be coming and what is the soil resistance? Because if soil resistance is high, it will not be earthed. It will bounce back, spread in ground and create fire and current, So it is very important that a proper regulatory standard should be set up. Unfortunately, Bureau of Indian Standard is all colonized by the Western companies. And these companies are treating India as a junk market, not letting the standards come up. The standards which are there, as of now, our testing capacity is 40 kiloampere or 70 kiloampere. So that too also not an impulse current. The impulse current means a current which suddenly comes, not a regular current. So it is important that all the devices which are put should be properly tested for the specific areas expected current surge threat and the soil resistance. Then only earthing. In our complete lightning risk management, the worst part is the mitigation. In rural area, there is negligible coverage, and in urban area, there are only 2% coverage. So unless you put the lightning conductor arrestor, you will not get the result. In Jharkhand, we put the same in all the schools, colleges, hospitals, and it was safe. But now it has lived its life. It has a 10 years life. It needs regular maintenance. So if you maintain it, you do it properly, there is always 100% reliability about lightning safety. You can always go for that. And this protection is done vertically by the lightning arrestor or conductor. And there are lateral currents also which come from the side flashes that can come through your windows, doors, or in veranda. So for that, it also can come through the electric line, power line, which is there, and even from 10 kilometers away. So there is a surge protection device which you should fit in inside your house where the main current is entering. You should close your windows and doors when lightning is happening. That's all from my side.
Yeah. Should I add giving answer to the palm tree question?
Yes, sir.
There are no particular research that you don't find much paper that palm tree as a conductor act like a conductor, bring this charge and earthening it. But from the field study, I can say in Baleshwar. So if you compare the death, the blocks which is not having palm trees having majority of the deaths. But if you go to the south part of Baleshwar, like Khaira, Upada, there were lesser deaths. And while moving, going to the field, we found that in their agricultural field, they have palm trees. In between, they have palm trees. I think that act like a conductor. So the culture of palm tree which our elder generations, previous generations, they were using to protect themselves from this lightning activity. And I just want to add what our previous generations, why how much were they safe, how much we are safe. If you see the changes which has happened in our lifestyle also, like they used to go to bed early and rise early, work early, then come back. And then if you see the kind of forest degradations happened and the climate change activities happening, so there are more uncertainties happened in the last 20 years. If you see the lightning activity also from 1967 till 2020, most of the uncertainties in the last 10 years, maybe last 20 years. So I think there were less activity and some patterns were there, and they have their own mechanism to get rid of this lightning activity. So that is from me.
Yes, sir. And also, if you can just answer the query whether we should hold umbrella and save ourselves.
I think umbrella is if it is a metal, so there is a chance the lightning, it will not attract, but that there is a chance lightning can strike to it, because there are certain cases which the umbrella act as a as it is a metal, so there the current can affect it. But if you see the cases of trees, someone was asked that we should put trees around our houses. I can say, like, if you have thatched house or mod house, there was a death in Valeshwar only because the 4 people were inside their home. What happened? There was a lightning activity going on. So a tall tree was there, but it was not a coconut tree. It was the tree was there. Then that was been struck by the lightning activity. A lateral current came inside their home. So all of them were on the wooden cot. So only one person who was touching the ground was being killed. And all other, I think 5 people are there. 4 people were not affected. But the person who was having touching the ground was killed. So that is why if you have a unsafe house, then you don't put trees. But I think if you have a safe house, I don't think so. There is burning activities going on, but no current going inside. I don't think so. There is no cases like that. I think any other questions you are asking?
No, sir. Thank you so much. And we had a very, very enriching session today with our esteemed panelists, and we discussed on various things, starting from early warning system to research and campaign and seasonality of forecasting, the community watchman, the livelihood conditions and safe houses. We also discussed about electric field meters, collective responsibility. We discussed about stakeholder engagement, networking, and also forecasting, seasonality forecasting, and create mechanisms to reach out to the communities. With this, I think I would like to conclude that let's not take lightning lightly, because ignorance is not always a bliss. It's high time that we take lightning very seriously and keep ourselves safe and also spread the message. So with this, I stop here and over to Hannah for vote of thanks. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for very efficiently summarizing the key points that came up in the discussion. It was indeed a wonderful session. I hope by the end, our participants, like we all have a better understanding and awareness and preparedness among us, leading to more effective lightning safety measures and risk reduction during thunderstorms. And also, I believe that we have more knowledge on the do's and don'ts on like what to do and what not to do during lightnings, and also on like key takeaways that can be implemented by the community, government, NGOs towards this effort. So even though this was an emergency session, thank you all for joining, especially to the speakers who have contributed their very valuable time for this. I'm sure that there would have been a lot of pressing priorities, but thank you so much for your time and agreeing to speak and share your valuable insights during the session, even on a short notice. And especially, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to our distinguished speakers, Panel Sanjay Srivastava sir, Abha ma'am, Debabrata sir, Manoranjan sir, and also to our moderator, Ms. Bharati ma'am. Thank you thank you so much for gracing us with your insights and expertise, and also thanking all the participants who have actively participated, shared your questions and your knowledge. This was definitely a capacity sharing platform. We all could learn from each other. Thank you all once again. We would be sharing you a feedback form as well as the session recording so that we share it further so that more people can know about it. We are thinking of conducting more sessions on regional languages so that all these do's and don'ts reach to more people. So we look forward for more collaborations in conducting that. Once again, I would like to extend a big thanks to one and all. We in the Academy do conduct regular webinars on various disaster-related topics. So please stay tuned for the upcoming sessions. And once again, thank you all. And thank you to the speakers.
Thank you, Hannah.
Thank you, Henry. Thank you.